Hello, my name is Roham, and today I'm going to talk about my new project that is a language learning app and it's called La Lingua. So let's get started. First, I would like to start with presenting my persona. His name is Valerio. He's an Italian journalist and activist. He lives and works in Rome. He's 48 years old and he spends more than 5 hours a day on internet for researching and tweeting. He's going to travel to China in 4 months because he's going to work on his new project and write a few articles about the Chinese proverbs. So he needs to learn grammars, especially cultural terms, in a short time. I think around 4 months he has to learn about it. So he has to learn and study every day, at least 2 hours a day. Because of that, push notifications and reminders are quite important for him. During this design process for this app, we are facing many problems and many challenges. For example, one of these problems and challenges was that Valerio needs to learn the Chinese fast and in a compelling way. And he needs to learn new culture terms and definitions for his new articles that he has to write during his traveling in Beijing and in China, and he has to translate them from Chinese to Italian, or from obviously from Italian to Chinese, or also in English. So he has to be able to find a real and clear definitions and meanings for some cultural terms and sayings, for example, for lots of proverbs in Chinese. And the other point is that, for example, if we, I mean, I can call it actually the problem statement, a vocabulary app with the ability of creating flashcards with the several definitions and meanings for each word, being able to translate each word or sentence to the simple definition for the user. It means that we have to have this ability for our user in this app that they can create for every word many different flashcards, and they can add their own definitions and meanings that they can remember it, and it's really easy for them. So they have to be able to edit and change the meanings all the time when they want. So, and they have to be also be able to reach them anytime, anywhere, to learn them and keep the study process ongoing. One of the main problem or challenges that my persona is facing during the design process is that in the app language, when you want to translate proverbs, for example, or sayings, or some sentences that will be used in a daily communications, if you want to translate them word by word, doesn't make any sense, and most of the time sounds really funny. So we need this, that the app give this possibility, and the app is capable to create reasonable meanings for lots of proverbs that my user wants to understand and learn them. For example, if you want to say good luck in Italian, you will say in bocca al lupo, and the answer will be crepi il lupo. And if you want to translate it in English word by word, the meaning will be I wish you that you will be in the mouth of the wolf, and the other person will answer me, I will kill the wolf. So if you translate the word by word, I mean, it doesn't make any sense for you, and it's something really funny, and a Chinese person doesn't understand it, and you can't put it in the text. So we are still challenging that. How can we find a possibility that the app can give us a clear term and a meaning of this proverbs like that? For example, in the Chinese language, there's a lots of proverbs that being used, and the people express themselves in a daily communications with lots of proverbs and sayings. So as you can see in this page, I started to create prototypes. And at the beginning, I started to put icons like profile, languages, flashcards, and play, notification, and language club. So these are obviously simple icons and with the simple functions. And I also add the language club because I thought it's really important when the users they can communicate with each other and they can exchange what they learned during the day or in any time, that they can also obviously learn from each other. And I think is really important to have this functionality. On this page, usability test plan, we decided to test two important part that actually our user was really interested in, and it's really fundamental for him. And one of them is that user has to be able to create several flashcards for each word. For example, if he has a proverb, he wants to have a definition for it. At the same time, he wants to add another definition to it, and he wants to also be able to edit it. And at the same time, he needs to have another simple translation for it. So I put all of these icons together and presented to my user for the test. The second part is that the user needs to be reminded to study every day. So I decided to put the notification icon on the same page, and actually on every page actually, that the user can change it anytime that they want, or they can set an alarm clock, or they want to have it as a email notification, or just like a small notification on the app on his iPhone or on his tablet. In my early prototypes, I had 2 points as my failures. The first one was the definition, because my user was quite confused with 4 different icons about the definitions and translate. For example, he couldn't understand why he has to deal with the definition and add a new definition, edit the definition, and at the same time translate it. He thought it might be great that if he can only have a definition and edit the definition, so he can add his own definitions and also his thoughts to the flashcard and translate it. The second one was a notification or a reminder. He preferred to have an email reminder or notification that he can receive it every day, usually 2 hours before he's going to start his course. So it's more easy to keep it in mind that he has to study at a certain point of time. And he didn't want to have any notification on his app because it's most of the time maybe he can't see it, or it's not as much as clear or noticeable as his emails. On this page, I'm going to talk about the improvements that I made after my testing my first prototypes and wireframes with my users. And there are 3 points that are really important and I can mention it here to you. I added actually the profile icon and the language icon to the menu bar on the left top of the page, because I think my users are enough intelligent and they can understand what this 3 line under each other means. And obviously when they click on it, it's a menu page, and when it's going to be open, it's include the profile and the language change. So they can anytime they reach their profile and your language, and they can change the language, and it's obviously faster. The second one is that we have a flashcard and the definition that includes the meaning of the word, and the third icon called add a new definition. So you can add your own definition, and actually you have the translation in it. So I actually deleted some other icons and make the interface more simple for the user. The third one is that the notification icon has been changed to the reminder, and the user can set up his notification based on his email, because when I tested the product by my user, he was more actually comfortable to receive an email because he could remember it easier than to receive it as a push notification on his app, because we are always checking our email during the day more than 10 times, and when we receive an email, if we don't also even read it, we know that we received that email, and then it's obviously easier to remind it for us and keep in our mind that, okay, at this time I have to start to study and my lessons going to start. And the other point is that you can see on the third iPhone photo on the right side, there's a daily goal time and the daily achievement. So you can add your daily goal during each day, how much you want to spend, how much time you want to spend on learning, and how much did you learn, and did you achieve your goals that you decided to achieve for every day. For improving my prototypes, I need to keep it simple. It means that I have to always keep a simple structure of the design that includes the information and usability and the functionality for my users. That is really easy and simple to understand and to work with. The second one is keep it real. It means that real needs and real answers for the needs of my users, that they are going to deal with it every day. So I'm just have to keep in mind and always mention it in my prototypes that there are always a real answer, and actually find a real answer from the real needs of my users. And one of the points that I think is really important to improve my prototypes, it's adding in new features like a language club that I mentioned it before for my users, for example, in the app, that they can communicate with each other and learn from each other. Some kind of the features that it's really interesting, and at the same time they are really new, and at the same time they have a real functionality and they are really easy to use and they can answer the real needs of my users. When I was 12 years old, I have this poster of Michael Jordan with this quote on top of it that was saying that fall in love with the game. And that I always thought, and I think and I believe that it's a really important thing to keep it in mind, because if you are not in love with what are you doing and what are you creating, the people that they are seeing you and they are actually your users, or they are your spectators, they are not going to like it either, and it's going to be boring for them too. So if you are not in love with your design process and you don't like it, the users obviously will hate it. And one of the other things that I really learned is that the different users, different needs. Actually, it's impossible to create a product that can answer the needs of the all users, but there is so many ways to understand the different needs and find one solution for several needs of the users. Thank you so much.